the nurse is this great character. She's kind of a clown. Literally she breastfed Juliet. She is her confidant. She's her unofficial mother friend, much closer to her than Lady Capulet. She's comic because her attitude towards love seems much more sexual and permissive, and she's not as caught up in the romance, the Petrarchan, the metaphoric, the metaphysical ideas about love. She's just really silly and digressive, and she's supposed to get the audience up in it, get a laugh out of it. And, her echo is in the Friar, because the Friar is Romeo's confidant. Her echo is in the scenes where she interacts with Mercutio, and both of them are making a lot of really inappropriate sexual jokes, and she finds him, for quite saucy. Even or odd, in all days of the years, it's about 14 years. So Juliet is 14 years old. And that is not unusual. I think of Romeo. I don't know if we learned his age, but I think of him as a few years older, maybe in his late teens. I don't think that's that odd. Neither for the time, nor really, maybe today would be, take that back, but of the time, definitely not. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls. So Susan was the nurse's child, I think, and it looks like she passed. So because she had milk in her breast, she was able to feed, or be the feeder for Juliet. Susan is with God. Yeah, she is dead. She's dead. So she remembers it well. And since the earthquake, it's been 11 years. And it's been 11 years, so at 3 years, Juliet was weaned from the breast, meaning she got off of the breast milk. And I shall never forget it. It keeps on, I never forget it. I remember it well. She's really digressive and old and silly. Of all the days of the years, upon that day, I had lain wormwood to my dug. So she puts some bitter root on her breast to make the child reject it. Child get annoyed and stop breastfeeding. I'm sitting in the sun. The mother and the father are in Mantua. I do bear a brain. But as I said, when it did taste the wormwood on the nipple of my dug, and it felt bitter, pretty fool. So she's talking about Juliet. To see it tetchy and fall out with the dug. So it was funny watching Juliet get angry with the nipple. And I think there's something about that relationship you can almost see. They are a bit tetchy with one another. Shake, quoth he, 'twas no need, I trow, to bid me trudge. Okay, and then, look, it's been about 11 years, because that's when she could stand. She started standing when she was 3. By the road, she ran and waddled. What a great verb. Because just the day before, she broke her brow, and then my husband, he's dead too. Husband is dead too. He made a joke. He took up the child. Dost thou fall on thy face? Thou will fall backward when thou hast more wit. So, meaning, you'll learn to lay on your back and have sex in not too long. That's a really crazy and inappropriate joke. Falling on your back equals sex. This is a really inappropriate joke to a very high-class lady, Lady Capulet. And how often has Juliet had to suffer these silly sexual jokes? What the note, Jewel? The pretty wretch left crying, and she said, because Juliet's a little kid and doesn't know any difference, she goes, yeah, to see now how just shall come about. I warrant, I should live 1,000 years. I should never forget. Wilt thou not, Juliet? Jewel, quoth he. I'm pretty fool to stint to that. She's digressive. She repeats herself. And she's sexual jokes about love. And she's a great character. I'm just going to keep going on this scene. With Lady Capulet, she's a bit annoyed. Enough of this. Just be quiet, she says. Hold thy peace. Just shut up and away. Yes, madam. Yet I cannot choose to laugh. To think it should leave crying, said I. Yea, quoth my it falls down on his face. Thou wilt fall backward when thou comest to age. Wilt thou not, Jill? It stinted and said I. And stint thou too, I pray thee, nurse. Just be quiet. Just stop talking. Lady Capulet. She's pitching something, okay? Lady Capulet is trying to arrange the marriage. This is context. You know, there's still arranged marriages in South Asia, obviously, in the South Asian community, in the West. In Europe, not very long ago, we'd still, specifically Southern Europe, 50 years ago, arranged marriage was not that unusual. Marriage was not about love. It was about property and money. And here, it's about power, because Paris is related to the prince. And if the Montagues make this marriage, it consolidates their power and they'll finally defeat the Capulets. But in the beginning, they're not doing the hard sell. They're trying to convince her, you know, they got to get her on board. Can you love this? And this is an extended metaphor of him, of a book, being a man, I think. Can you love this gentleman? You're going to see him at our feast. I mean, they're having a big party. I mean, basically for this reason. Read over the volume of his face, and you'll find delight written there with beauty's pen. Examine every, the string, the closeness of the paper, and see how one another lends content, and what obscured in this fair volume lies. Find written in the margin of his eyes. So she's saying, like, you're going to read him, you're going to notice the beauty of the pen, of the paper, how amazing the volumes of him are. This precious book of love, this unbound, so the paper isn't brought together. You know, all he lacks is a cover. Well, what's that mean? So, is he incomplete? Oops, sorry, let me just fix that. Is he incomplete? This is, again, another labored metaphor. Extended it may be, but I don't think it's very effective. So when that's the case, I'm fairly certain it's comic. And it's a comic counterpoint to the nurse, who's very bawdy. This is just a kind of faux intellectual trying to really sell a guy who, by all accounts, isn't that great, I guess. The fish lives in the sea. 'Tis much pride for fair without the fair within to hide. That book in many's eyes doth share the glory, that in gold clasps locks in the golden story. Oh, so silly. So he's going to be amazing and filled with glory. So shall you share all that he possessed by having him, making yourself no less. Strangely, it seems about the moolah here. Maybe it is money and power that she's interested in. And then an inappropriate joke. Women grow by men, meaning they get pregnant. You will grow by him. You won't make, by having him, you'll be not less. She says, yeah, you'll be more. You'll grow. You'll get pregnant. Stop talking. Do you think you could like Paris? And Juliet gives a really modest response. She says, yeah, I'll look to like, if looking liking move. No more deep will I endart mine eye than your consent gives strength. You know, permission. She's just looking for her parents' permission. And then the nurse, what a fantastic line. Seek happy days to happy nights. Again, it's sexual, but there's a kind of beauty in the repetition. I think that's a really great line. So here we get the difference between two different mothers, basically. Lady Capulet with her false pitch really is interested in her own money and power and marrying off her beautiful young, highly intelligent daughter, and the nurse being bawdy and silly and just sexual and fun and is more interested in that for Juliet.